You are not allowed to flush the toilet after 10 p.m. in Switzerland. Other sorry things you can't do in this country are use a high-pressure power hose on your car, hike naked, hang out laundry, cut your grass or recycle on Sundays. Some random things you must do in this country is pay tax on your dog if you have one and have a buddy for pets such as guinea pigs, goldfish and budgies so they have company. Royal tradition states that Prince Charles and Prince William cannot board the same plane together in case there is a crash and the monarch loses two heirs at once. Technically, the same rule applies for Prince William and his 5-year-old son, Prince George. When ants die, they secrete a chemical that tells other ants to move the body to a sort of burial ground. If this chemical is sprayed on a live ant, other ants will treat it as a dead ant, regardless of what it does. An elephant drinks 34 gallons 130 liters of water a day. The word font only refers to things like italics, size, and boldness. The style of the lettering is called a typeface. Sloths can live up to 30 years and spend 15-18 hours a day sleeping. It's possible to see a rainbow as a complete circle from an airplane. Martin Luther King Jr. got a C in public speaking. Portuguese navigator Ferdinand Magellan named the Pacific Ocean due to the calmness of the ocean. Pacific translates to peaceful. A group of turkeys is called a rafter. The word jay used to be used as slang for a dull or stupid person, so when anyone who ignored traffic regulations and crossed roads illegally was called a jaywalker. In 2004, Volvo introduced a concept car called the Yik that was built specifically for women without a hood and dent-resistant bumpers. If you were to take out someone's lungs and flatten it out, it would have the same surface area as one half of a tennis court. The largest numerical denomination bill ever made was the 1 milliard Hungarian pengo in 1946. Its value was 1 sextillion. That's one with 21 zeros behind it, yet it was still only worth 20 cents US. The Appian Way in Rome is a road that was built in 312 BC that is still used to this day. In Victorian London, mail used to be delivered 12 times per day. Contrary to popular belief, white spots on fingernails are not a sign of a deficiency of calcium, zinc, or other vitamins in the diet. They're actually called leukonychia and are completely harmless and are most commonly caused by minor injuries that occur while the nail is growing. A stock exchange system exists with pirates in Somalia. Locals can invest in a pirate group and after a successful heist will receive a reward. In one instance, a woman gave an RPG-7 to a pirate group and ended up receiving $75,000. Thailand celebrates a festival each year named Loi Krathong where they release thousands upon thousands of sky lanterns, filling up the night sky as tradition. Octopuses will actually break off a limb as part of a fight to impress a mate or to get away from a predator. They will also eat their own arms once in a while, which some scientists believe may be due to a disease of some sort. The Carrot House in Warsaw is the world's tiniest house, measuring only 90 centimeters at its narrowest point and 150 centimeters at its widest. Railroad tycoon George Pullman's family were so worried that former employees would desecrate his corpse after death that they buried him at night in a pit 2.4 meters deep under layers of steel-reinforced concrete in a lead-lined casket. You can be criminally prosecuted for making death threats written entirely in emoji. The longest mathematical proof in history is 15,000 pages long, involved more than 100 mathematicians, and took over 30 years to complete. Donald Trump was actually the inspiration for the character Biff Tannen in the Back to the Future trilogy. Some of the crew working on American Horror Story Freak Show would have to actually leave set at times because Twisty the Clown was so scary, while others would complain of nightmares after filming. Astronauts discard their clothes after each use. Since it costs about $10,000 to get 1 pound of cargo to the ISS, it is more cost-effective for them to discard their cloths when they get dirty instead of wasting water by washing them. After Boromir had a dream urging him to seek Rivendell to the north, it took him 110 days to arrive, just barely making it in time for Elrond's council. Tolkien wrote that the courage and hardihood required was not fully recognized by the narrative. Venus flytraps were believed to be an alien species because they seemed to grow in places where meteorites were found. It was thought they had been brought to Earth by meteors. Before performing in Japan, the Beatles received an anonymous message: "Do not go to Tokyo. Your life is in danger. 35,000 police officers were tasked to protect the group. The Japanese audience was so polite and quiet that they were able to hear how bad the live performance really was. A small Japanese railway company was so financially troubled that they started selling rice crackers, to the point that profits from selling rice crackers are now double those from its railway operations. Italy has a 13-foot-tall sculpture of a middle finger in front of their stock exchange. When preparing for his role in The Last of the Mohicans 1992, actor Daniel Day-Lewis taught himself how to live as a survivalist and refused to eat anything that he hadn't killed himself. Carrots used to be available in purple and white until the 17th century, when Dutch farmers succeeded in growing the first orange carrots in honor of the ruling House of Orange-Nassau. In 1518, a dancing plague struck Strasbourg, Alsace, France, whereby hundreds of people danced fervently in the streets over the period of a month. Some suffered heart attacks or strokes, and many others died from sheer exhaustion. The phenomenon remains unexplained. The author of the science fiction novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, published in 1968, said there will come a time when it isn't they're spying on me through my phone anymore. Eventually, it will be my phone is spying on me. Colombian drug trafficker Carlos Letter bought himself an island in the Bahamas, where he put an airstrip which controlled the drugs coming in from South America and entering the U.S. He became so wealthy that he offered to pay Colombia's foreign debt for amnesty. Despite having created one of the largest fast food franchises, Wendy's founder, Dave Thomas, decided to go back to school and earn his GED in 1993 at the age of 61. His GED class voted him most likely to succeed. In a study to improve hospital design for children, researchers polled 250 children regarding their opinions on clowns. Every single one reported disliking or fearing them. The Navajo extras in a 1964 classic John Ford Western said crazy and ribald things on film in serious scenes because no one on set knew their language. There were also comments on other characters' penis size and more. A crevice and a crevice are not the same things. A crevice is a deep crack in a rock, and a crevice is a deep crack in the ice. The only Japanese who survived the Titanic, Masabumi Hosono, lost his job because he was known as a coward in Japan for not dying with the other passengers. Colorado switched mile marker 420 to 419.99 in order to stop people from stealing it. During the Vietnam War, a U.S. task force known as Tiger Force routinely cut off the ears of its victims to make necklaces from them. The debate about vaccines and autism began after a fraudulent paper was published. The author is no longer licensed to practice. Countless dollars have been spent on debunking his claims, and innocent children have probably died due to his lies. Stephen Hawking is the only person to ever portray themselves in the Star Trek universe. Smallpox is the first and only disease that has ever been eradicated. Smallpox now only exists in high-security labs in Russia and the U.S. Vaccinations played a major role in achieving this eradication. The word jay used to mean stupid and was eventually applied to country folk, who were seen as unworldly. When these country folk, or jays, came to the city, they didn't understand traffic signals and crosswalks and crossed wherever and whenever they could. Thus, they were jaywalking. The pufferfish, eaten as a delicacy in Japan, contains a potent neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin. Opossums do not have a corpus callosum, the large bundle of axons that connects the right and left cerebral hemispheres. Many spiders have 8 eyes. The word cerebellum comes from the Latin words meaning little brain. The Snellen eye chart, the one with the letter E pointed in different directions, was invented by Dr. Hermann Snellen in 1862. At the 2002 USA Memory Championship, Scott Hagwood correctly matched 97 of 99 faces and names after spending 15 minutes studying the pairs. The brain of a grasshopper has approximately 16,000 neurons.